Last week's action at Bristol brought our third different winner this season and shook up the points field below the top spot, which is still occupied by Holly. But with Ken Hoover taking the win, his consistency has lended him the runner-up spot going into the Midwest portion of the season. Will Hoover be able to keep Bradley Holly behind him, or will Holly sneak his way by as he has for so many seasons? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 4 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series, sponsored by Diecast Kings, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Adam Lindgren, and joining me in the booth is Chris Foby. Our director tonight will be Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Chicagoland may be more than 20 miles from downtown itself, but it still has its own Midwest flair. To learn more about it, let's send you down to our track guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Chicagoland Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado. Chicagoland is a fun little 1.5 mile oval, gives the drivers a lot of room to run, and it's just a lot of fun in this truck. So down into turn 1, let it float the bottom, roll out of the gas just for a split second, back all the way full throttle, hug that white line, drive it straight out here to the fence, make sure not to touch it. Down the somewhat curved backstretch, down into turn 3, you're really only rolling out about half throttle, back into about that point in the corner, back into the gas, all the way out of the corner. For qualifying times, you might see guys run all the way down here on this flat surface. A little bit quicker, but not really banked, so it could be an issue later in the race. Still, you might be able to run up there in that second groove as the run progresses, but I still think the winner today is going to be the one that can make their truck work on the bottom, coming off the corner the best. Down into turn 3 once again, out of the gas about halfway, let it roll, and then find a set back into the gas right about there. Driving it straight out towards the wall, out of turn 4, onto the apron, across the line, and that's going to complete our track guide here around the Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
There you saw a couple laps around the Chicagoland Speedway, but here to tell us a little bit more about this track outside of Joliet is our co-commentator Chris Foby. Chris?
Well, the Chicagoland Speedway, you'll see on similar to the picture on the screen. It's a tri-oval, but the back straightaway is actually curved as well. So these drivers are always going to be putting a little bit of input into the wheel, which could play a role into driver fatigue. There is a decent amount of banking out there, but look for momentum to be the name of the game, as we seem to always say with these NASCAR trucks. And it's hot and slick out there as well, so passing is going to be at a premium, and look for these guys to be laser focused on gaining and keeping as much track position as possible.
Yeah, definitely, Chris, that track position is going to be great there. And one other thing that's great is our season sponsor, Diecast Kings. Now, those real-life race seasons may not be going, but you can have some of your own race cars to race around at home. Shop Diecast Kings, your home for the best selection of NHRA, NASCAR, and now introducing IndyCar diecast for the 2020 season. Pick yours up today at diecastking.com. We also have a league-wide sponsor, Chris.
That's right. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Visit thebuttkicker.com today to view their full line of products.
All right, as we mentioned, the points championship, which these drivers are going to have to deal with here, is a little bit shaken up after last week at Bristol. As we know, Bristol, a very rough and tumbling place. Bradley Holly still leads right now, 9 points over Ken Hoover, who won last week. So Ken making some great inroads in the last 2 races. Paul Williams, though, 21 points off the lead, and also 21 points back is Rob Haynes. So they're tied for that 3rd position, with Thomas Sink down there 33 points out of the lead. But he is not going to be able to qualify today due to penalties coming off of cautions, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Chris, you have the team's championships.
That's right. It's the Whataback Car Ramrod team still on top of the standings, with the Rescue Racing Puppers just 27 markers back. Just 3 markers further back is the Whataback Back Row Racing Squad. And then 24/7 Racing 4 markers back from them, and Ballistic Union still hanging on to the back of the top 5.
All right, and for those of you who may be new to this series or new to iRacing in general, let's talk to you about those race details. This is round 4 of 10. We're going to do 85 laps around this 1.5 mile track, or 60 minutes, whichever comes first. They're racing the fixed setup that comes with these trucks in this season of iRacing, so these drivers will not be able to adjust it to their liking. They have to drive what is given to them. They also have no fast repair, so any damage they attain, they're going to have to try and get it sorted out on pit road, and those damage moments will cause incidents, and those incident limits is going to be at 24 for this race. So I don't expect any drivers to run into that, but 100% fuel means we're going to see at least one pit stop this week. So Chris, here we go into this very intense race. You said it was hot out there. Talk to us about the weather again.
Yeah, it's up to 114 degrees on track. What that means is that the racing conditions are going to be a bit slick. The track, when it gets warm, kind of some of the oils in the track seem to seep up to the surface. Gets a little bit slick. Grip will be at a premium. And it's going to be hard to get the side-by-side racing going with the track as hot and slick as it's going to be with that very high track temperature.
Unfortunately, the humidity's not too high, which can be a problem in Illinois, so these guys won't have to deal with that much today. You may see these truck drivers running around pretty close to one another right now. They do a couple of test green flag runs just to make sure that everyone has an understanding of how the trucks are gonna start off the day. So this is still practice. We still have about 3 minutes left to practice. And one other thing to talk about is going to be a couple of penalties from last round. Thomas Sink, as we mentioned, and Tristan Callahan are being told they are not to qualify this race due to having too many points on their license. Now, these points can be accrued if a driver is found at fault or partially at fault of multiple cautions in the same race, or if a driver is found at fault for multiple cautions in consecutive races, then they'll be charged with points. So these drivers are being told to start from the back today, essentially, Chris.
And as we touched on earlier, that's going to be a huge detriment to their race day, because passing is probably going to be a little bit difficult here. And starting at the back means you have a lot of trucks between you and the front, so they may have to play some strategy games, maybe try and stretch the field runs a little bit, but they're going to have their work cut out for them trying to make their way through the field.
So as we ride on board with Brandon Walter, you said it's that track position, you've mentioned it multiple times, the track position is really important around here, and that's hard to pass. What makes it so hard to pass around these banked Chicagoland?
Well, part of it is the vehicle that they're driving. Those NASCAR trucks, with the way the engine's configured and the way they race, they're all pretty even as far as what they have under the hood, which means it's hard to get a really decided advantage over anybody else. And so having to run kind of the same groove to keep the speeds up means you're running in the same groove. And if you're in the same groove, it's hard to pass. And also track conditions being a little bit slick will make it difficult. And you can see you have a couple guys going too wide here as we're watching in practice, but for the most part, everybody's trying to run more down towards the bottom in the corners, which again, unless you want to try to root somebody up out of the groove on a track that's this fast, could lead to disaster, but maybe what we see to get some passes completed today.
Well, Chris, another thing to talk about is how long you think they're going to go on these tires before they start to really give way. And also, do you think that tire saving is going to be important today for some of these drivers?
You know, this surface is actually a little bit older. When NASCAR fans, maybe of my generation, think of Chicagoland, you think of it as one of the quote-unquote newer tracks. But this track debuted in 2001 in the major racing world, which makes that a almost 20-year-old surface. You know, based on the last scan, I'm not sure exactly when that was done, but that's still north of 15 years that they've been racing on this surface. And this track also deals with the Midwestern winters and the freezing and unfreezing that happens during that time of year. So this surface is a little bit rough. And we'll see that play a huge role in the long distance on these runs, because the drivers that can save their tires will probably see the benefit later into a run than the drivers that just put hammer down right at the start and eat up those tires real quick.
So that wraps up practice. We are heading into qualifying now here at Chicagoland Motor Speedway. So this is going to be a very interesting qualifying because a lot rides on it, with track position being at a premium and apparently some clouds coming over the track for qualifying. This is going to make things very exciting. That is the number 30 truck heading out onto track. That is Ken Huber, our winner from last week, so he's wasting no time getting out there.
Yeah, if you see those clouds coming out, that's going to be pretty much the prime time to hit the track, because the cloud cover will make the track a little bit slicker, or I'm sorry, a little bit cooler, and will make it a little bit quicker.
So Ken coming off of turn 4, he's about to start his first flying lap. They get 2 flying laps, and they're running these laps in isolation, so they're keeping their own social distancing here on iRacing as they do qualifying. And Ken Huber is the first to go through turns 1 and 2. He keeps it pretty well to the line, but he's definitely leaving a lot on the table towards the outside wall, so I'm expecting, Chris, he's probably waiting for that second lap to really send it through.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try to get this truck wound up, so to speak. Get that momentum going on the first lap so that you have everything really rolling and clicking by the time your second time lap comes out.
So Ken crosses the line with a 30.936. Well, I'm expecting that to fall pretty quickly, but actually most of those out there have dropped in behind him, and there's Rob Haynes taking him off the top spot by about 3/100ths of a second. So Ken's going pretty quick, but Rob on his first lap was quite a bit quicker. Here comes Ken off of his second lap. This is off of turn 4, coming across the line. Let's see whether or not he puts in a really good time here.
That one's going to be a purple lap, 30.861, so that's going to put Ken back up to the top, and right just as quick as that happens, Jay Felton is now going to move to the top of the charts, Adam.
Yeah, he does, as Baron Hilton comes across for his first lap. This is not his first flying lap, so he's going to go around one more time and get a lap in. Brandon Walter, on the other hand, is going to do a 31.023, so that's only good enough for 12th position. So a couple of these drivers who we see, who have seen up at the front of the field, are struggling a little bit right now, such as Josue Tellez and Mike Richter. Colton Lane down there in 7th position. So Charles Sumner, as he's coming across the line, he's got 18th position. So Ken Huber there, he's only got 2nd, but that should be good enough for a pretty decent run. Baron Hilton on his first lap, a 31.189, and Richard Regan Jr. to the top of the charts, our winner from week 2.
Yeah, first driver who actually only beat Felton by 1,000th of a second, and we have Charles Sumner in that Tropicana scheme. You think that's a throwback to the old days when the giant orange came rolling down the track?
I sure hope so. Those were some pretty interesting days for sure. Daniel Knight coming across with a slower lap, actually a 30.880, and John LaBaffe looks like he's pulled in his 2 laps, as well as Richard Regan Jr. So right now it's Richard Regan Jr. with Jay Felton and Ken Huber in the lead.
Yeah, and you can see those top 3 trucks separated by 5/1000ths of a second. That's like what the time it takes to blink.
And Bradley Hawley now on his lap. So he hasn't set a time yet. He's got 1:22 left. Adam Zemke as well has not set a time. So these drivers leaving it quite a bit later, Chris.
I mean, I got to wonder if maybe they were hoping for that cloud cover we talked about to hit the track.
So Bradley Hawley here coming down the backstretch. He's coming into 3 and 4 and struggle. It looks like he struggled a little bit on his first lap, only P12, but we know how quick he is, so he takes it quite shallow off of 3 and 4. Here we go down the front stretch. He's going to cross and do a 30.880, so that's good enough for 7th place, but still he's struggling back there.
And how about the quality of this field, Adam? We have 16 drivers that are within a 10th of each other.
Quite a good field, and we are going to get our grid down here. So starting off in the lead is going to be Richard Regan Jr. Oh, sorry, we still have about 15 seconds left in qualifying. My correction there. So a couple of people still with opportunities to take it here. Brendan Chatley just finishing his final laps. And that is finally going to be everybody. We have a couple of drivers who did not qualify, which we will get to, but our grid is as stands. Richard Regan Jr. will take that pole position away from Jay Felton, only by 1/1000th of a second, with Ken Huber starting off in third position and Mike Eames in fourth. Daniel Knight's going to start off in fifth, with Austin Hunter in sixth position. Bradley Hawley all the way back down in seventh position, with Kevin Santana alongside him in eighth, and row 5 goes to Adam Zemke and Matt Sentel for the start.
Just outside of the top 10 is going to be Rob Haynes in P11 with James O'Brien to his outside. Colton Lane will be inside of row 7 with Charles Snubner to the outside. Brendan Chatley will be inside of row 8 with Mike Richter 16th on the grid. Aaron Webb and Dominic Beijing compose row number 9, and Paul Williams the second, and Jared Mogard in the U truck complete your top 20.
Nicholas Hunter is going to start off 21st alongside Adam Shane. Then we have Brett Adams in 23rd, with John LaBaff in 24th. Brandon Walter is going to line up in the 25th position with Josue Tellez all the way back down in 26th. A struggle for qualifying for him. Blaine Adams as well, relegated back to 27th position with Mark Palin in 28th. Then we have Stacy Hunter back in 29th, and Adam Young rounding out your top 30.
Baron Hilton will be our last driver that made an attempt in qualifying, followed by Thomas Sink and Tristan Callahan, the two drivers penalized and were not able to take a time. Matthew Aubrey, J.R. Bash, and Craig Holden are the remaining drivers in the field, also not taking a time in qualifying.
So Chris, with the immense heat that we have today and this older track surface, is tire spin at the start something that these drivers are going to have to worry about here on fresh tires?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me too much if we did have to deal with it. I mean, with it being a hot, slick track and slick tires and an aging surface that maybe doesn't have the most adhesion, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a couple of trucks spinning the wheels on the start.
So as the Mustang pace car pulls away and starts to lead the field towards that green flag around the next time by, that's going to be Richard Regan Jr. who's going to be out there in the lead. We're taking a look at Bradley Hawley there, stuck in that 7th position. He's going to have a long way to go, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, that's passing's going to be at a premium like we said, so basically starting from anywhere not right up at the front is going to be a huge challenge.
So they line up double file as they go down this backstretch. And it's great to see some trucks out on the track today. I know it's been a tough time for everybody. We hope that you've been staying home and staying safe as we get ready to take the green flag here at Chicagoland. A great race we're going to have here with Richard Regan Jr. leading off the field, with Jay Felton in second, Ken Huber starting off third, Mike Eames fourth, and Daniel Knight rounding out your top 5 as we start. Pace car leading them through 3 and 4 is going to pull down to the inside, and then Richard Regan Jr. will control the field. He can go any time before the stop of the green flag, and he waits and waits and waits quite a while, still waiting, and now we get going. Richard Regan Jr. with a decent jump, but Jay Felton a good jump as well. Ken Huber on the inside. Looks like he's got that position at the moment, but look at that. Daniel Knight being pushed by Bradley Hawley, who thought about going to the outside but was trapped in by Mike Eames.
Already these drivers showing a sense of urgency trying.
They definitely are. Richard Regan Jr. with a great lead right there. Ken Huber defending that bottom side. Jay Felton trying to cross over and get down to the bottom side. Unable to do so. Daniel Knight down there on the white line. They are really bunched up there from second on back to fifth, with Bradley Hawley following in that train. He's going to look to the outside.
Yeah, this track resembling the Chicago traffic that we all know and love.
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, that Chicago traffic probably a little bit lighter now, but look at this. Daniel Knight dropping down to the low side, trying to defend against Bradley Hawley, who's right on his bumper, giving him a little bit of a bump trash in the corner. This is actually going to give Daniel Knight an opportunity to pull Jay Felton off at that low groove, and that's going to put him on the high side and start to drop him back. Bradley Hawley's going to follow him through.
And they're still 2 and 3 wide back through the field, as Ken Huber now sets the quickest lap of the race here in the early running. And he's currently in the second spot, trying to run down your leader, Daniel Knight, clear of the 5 truck of Felton, and now Bradley Hawley looking to follow him through to move into fourth.
Bradley Holly taking no time to try and get up there into those top positions, and back behind them, like you said, it is that traffic jam, but look at this, Bradley Holly not able to make much ground there on Alpha 4, so he's going to have to try again through 1 and 2.
One thing you can say is there's plenty of room to make a lot of different approaches down that front straightaway. You see drivers all the way down on the apron, some running up on the actual racing surface. But nonetheless, it's a really cool sight to see the car or the trucks fanned out 3 and 4 wide heading down the straightaway.
Bradley Holly was unable to get anything done, so Richard Regan Jr. now leads Ken Huber. Both of these drivers have led the points at one time or another, so they're both going to be duking it out there, trying to pull away from Bradley Holly, who's stuck down there in the 5th position. And as we've been watching these battles up front, the rest of the field has started to swing out single file, so now it looks like we might be heading into a little bit more of a conservation mode, but look at that, Bradley Holly going for the move again.
Yeah, some of these drivers, you got to think, want to make those tires last to the end of the run if they're not running up towards the front. As Bradley Holly looking like the 5 of Jay Felton beginning to make a sniff at 4th position, trying to take it back.
Yeah, Bradley just making that position up in the final corner, so he really packed it in and almost went up into the wall, so that's going to wear a little bit of the tires off of him. That might make him susceptible to Jay Felton or Adam Zemke, who is trying to go on Felton, whereas Felton blocking that low lane, but that's going to cause him to have a shallow entry through the corner, which makes him use up a little bit more of that right front tire.
That's some of the gamesmanship I really love that we see here in this great world of motorsports that we all love. These drivers not only trying to manage their race, but trying to approach the race in a way that can compromise the race of those around them, trying to force their competitors into making a move that could possibly be detrimental in the long run.
As we ride on board with Zemke, I can report the top 7 have broken away, and we now have a 7-car group for that lead pack, all the way down to Rob Haynes, and then Austin Hunter leads another pack that's a little bit more broken up, all the way back down to, well, the rest of the field.
Yeah, looks like everyone outside of that top 7 pack is still racing pretty close together.
Yeah, down in P11, Colton Lane is being challenged by Brendan Chatley and Matt Sentel. Brendan Chatley down on the low side, trying to get past Colton Lane, and this racing is getting pretty tight back here for these top 10 positions. They're still quite a gap.
And Sentel beginning to search around a little bit, trying to find the quickest route, and that's going to allow the 44, James O'Brien, to get in the mix as well.
Yeah, so it's not clear whether or not someone is holding up one of the other drivers there, so as they start to bottle up here, this is where things can get dangerous, because as these trucks start to wear on their tires here, they start to push out more and more as we get further on in these runs, and that can make these cars a little unstable. That is Rob Haynes having pulled out that position. Austin Hunter as well. Mike Eames following through. So quite a few of these drivers are starting to spread out a little bit, but there's still a battle side by side between Colton Lane and Charles Sumner there. Colton Lane just being stuck on that high side, nowhere to go.
Oh, and you can see just how close these guys are all racing together out there.
Right on board with Colton Lane there. It's really good driving from all these drivers. It's really difficult to keep these trucks off of that wall. You can see just how many different lines we have going through the corner, and this time it looks like Colton Lane's going to get a better opportunity, try and go to that low. Diving down underneath Matt Sentel, actually underneath James O'Brien rather, as he tries to make it work off the corner, but James O'Brien carrying some good momentum there. They're going to go 3 wide here across the start-finish line.
That's something that they have the benefit of the room for here at Chicagoland Speedway, but still Colton Lane thinks better of it, backs off, and he's going to allow Hogard to get through, and he'll race with 44 James O'Brien as they head into turn number 3. And the orange juice truck of Charles Sumner now up in the mix as well.
Yeah, but this has really bottled up everyone behind them all the way back to Brett Adams in the 19th position. So this is all 12th to 19th, just bottled up in underneath about a quarter of a second there. Up at the lead, Richard Regan Jr. has a decent lead right now, but Ken Huber looks like he's just been following in the footsteps of Richard Regan Jr. Daniel Knight as well, very close. Bradley Hawley very close, and then a small gap back to Adam Zemke in fifth.
Well, we talked about it earlier, Adam, the idea of saving your equipment, and you got to think Ken Huber not pushing it too hard, but not letting the leader check out either.
Definitely the case there. One thing that I have noticed, though, is that the trucks who are in line tend to wear out that right front a little bit faster. And is that due to the aerodynamics? I mean, can they get that much of a draft effect or an aerodynamic pull off of that front splitter around this mile-and-a-half track?
Yeah, we hear him talk about it a lot on the television broadcast for NASCAR, but that dirty air or that wake that kind of comes off the back of the leading truck is something that can really affect the handling characteristics of the trucks behind them. And when that gets a little bit sideways, unfortunately, that does cause the tires to get eaten up a little bit.
It looks like Bradley Hawley's going to look to the inside of Daniel Knight coming off of 3 and 4. This is the best opportunity he's had. Daniel Knight starting to lose a little bit of momentum. Bradley Hawley down there to that low side, but can he make it stick? He pushed pretty hard in the early stages of this run, and Daniel Knight is going to try and power it around the outside. She's right on board with Hawley. His pass attempt just not working out, not able to keep the grip down on that low side. Looks like he's going to have to hold off and wait for a potential caution or maybe the green flag pit stops if they should occur.
Yeah, so far a very very calm race for these drivers. Everybody kind of saving their stuff, it looks like, for the duration of this first run. 85 laps is the distance, and so far these drivers are all playing it safe.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks to me, Chris, like Ken Huber has a little bit of left rear damage to that wing there.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing on my monitor. It looks like that left rear quarter may have gotten a little bit of a nudge.
Yeah, that wing just being a little bit occluded by the rear view mirror in that shot, unfortunately, but apparently he is clean, so we're seeing a little bit of a disparity there, but possibly he got a nudge. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there is a little bit of a wrinkle there. So do you think that's going to be negatively affecting him over the course of this race?
I don't think that's a particularly severe little bit of damage, but it definitely can't help things.
Look at this. Daniel Knight, after being challenged by Bradley Hawley, is right up to the back of the tank. He's going to be right in line. And another thing we haven't talked about, if this race does go green, do you think fuel saving could be in effect here for Ken and for Daniel Knight here?
That's another strategy play that could probably have a pretty good effect on the outcome of this race. Any way to save a little bit of time and be able to have a little bit extra at the end, I think is going to make a huge difference. So if they do start saving fuel in this run, especially with green flag pit stops maybe in the name of the game today, it could make a huge difference.
And we have had our first victim of the outside wall. James O'Brien has hit the outside wall, and now Mark Kalin as well into the outside wall. So these trucks are starting to get very tight.
Yeah, looks like a pretty good shot on the right side of the 34 of O'Brien too. So we'll keep posted, let you know how that may affect the run later on. But you can see quite a bit. The right front fender is pretty wrinkled up.
We're gonna give it one shot to try and take a look at this, and yes, here we go. So we're gonna see it here coming off of turn 4. This is where James O'Brien just starts to lose the truck in the middle of the corner. You'll see him start to slide up in the dirty air and then just whammo into that outside wall.
And that's a unfortunately pretty common occurrence here at Chicagoland Speedway, especially in that particular spot of the track.
So we have had a little bit of a shuffle up in the front, and actually, yes, Oh, look at this. Richard Riga Jr. has hit the outside wall now, so he is now getting passed by Daniel Knight, Bradley Hawley, and Ken Huber. Huber is the first one who fell back, and that was not due to contact, but now he's almost going to make side-by-side contact with Richard Riga Jr. for that third position. Richard Regan has some pretty significant right-side damage. That thing's pretty well pancaked, eh, Chris?
Yeah, he must have smacked the wall pretty good. Obviously, it's cost him almost 3 positions, and it looks like a pretty good bit of damage. You see here he's riding on board with Ken Huber, trying to get a view of what happened up ahead.
And you'll just start to see that truck just falling back. Richard Regan Jr. hitting that outside wall pretty hard, so he's lost a lot of time.
Yeah, it looks like he must have caught it coming off of turn 2, which is probably the other most common spot to see that happen. Just gets up, gets those tires out of the darker part of the track where the rubber's been laid down, and just slaps the wall.
Yeah, so he's now back to the 4th position in the clutches of Adam Zemke, who is in 5th, looking to the bottom side just a little bit. Thought about taking a move there, but didn't. And now we have a 3-wide battle going on for the 9th position, and this is really interesting because the 666 truck of Kevin Santana went all the way to the high side, so clearly some trucks getting upset here as we get later on in this run.
Yeah, we talked about them racing calmly, and apparently they must have heard us because everybody's turned up the wick a little bit. Do you think maybe they're starting to think about pit stops and everybody's trying to maximize what they have before they head down pit road?
Well, if they're starting to think about it, some of them are going to need pit stops to fix the damage that they have. So Kevin Santana, after having battled for that 10th position, has fallen all the way back to 13th and now has quite a bit of right front heat in that right front tire. Going on board with Charles Sumner here, who's up to the back of Kevin Santana. He's riding right in the tail tracks. Kevin Santana trying to catch up to the back of Matt Sentel there for that 12th position. Charles Sumner looking there. He's going to try and look to the bottom. No, he's not. He's actually going to stay in line. But look at this. He's trying to take a little bit of a later apex here, Chris. Here he goes, trying to get a little bit of a run. He's got it.
I feel like our director is trying to goad me into making some kind of comment about the great Cornholio, who's about to get slapped by the Orange Juice truck. So we have Orange Juice and Teepee here on the screen right now.
They're now 3 wide across the backstretch there as Cornholio is starting to hold up a couple of the other trucks there. Charles Sumner now stuck on the high side in between. Oh, look at that. The 666 truck has to back up, and that backs up Charles Sumner as well. They're going to fan out as they cross the start-finish line.
I believe Kevin Santana just looked at the wall and said, "Are you threatening me?"
So as that threat dissipates, we now start to filter it out. Dominic Magine into the 13th position with Paul Williams in 14th. Colton Lane now 15th, with Charles Sumner and Kevin Santana falling back to 16th and 17th positions. Riding on board with Dominic Magine, take a look at how close they are behind. This is very tight racing. Paul Williams looking to the outside. A little bit of an unorthodox strategy there, but as they're actually going pretty quick. They're catching up to Austin Hunter fairly quickly, Chris.
Yeah, and that was a really smart move to kind of goad Beijing into moving outside a little bit to block. And almost looked like it was going to work and open up the inside groove, but the crossover wasn't quite effective enough.
Look at this, though. Paul Williams might have a good opportunity here because Austin Hunter seems a little bit slow off the corner. He definitely did not save that right front tire for this later on in the run. We are 30 laps into this race now, and these trucks are starting to get a little bit squirrely here. Whoa, look at this. Very close between Dominic Magine and Austin Hunter going through the corner, and now Paul Williams giving a bump draft to Magine. He's going to look to the low side as they go into 3 and 4.
Yeah, I was going to say that did not look like it was quite finished yet as the 7 truck of Williams pushed his way in there. Beijing doing a great job holding on to it, but looks like the 7 truck's going to have the position.
Paul Williams all the way down to the grass through the tri-oval. That is absolutely legal. They can go below that white line here on the 1.5-mile tracks. But look at this. That is Dominic Magine trying to power it out on that high side. Does he have enough track to do so? Yes, he does. He's holding strong up there on the high side.
Yeah, I thought he was done for when Williams got to the inside on the front straightaway, but he is definitely not holding strong on the outside. But now Colton Lane is observing that battle and looking for somewhere to go.
Colton Lane looking on, so is Charles Sumner in the Tropicana machine, the Whataback Tropicana truck. And look at these guys, they're getting a little bit feisty up there with Dominic Machine trying to hold on to that position. But look at this, Colton Lane just pushing Paul Williams through, and now Colton's looking to the low side of Paul.
Yeah, that 60 truck looking very sporty this late into the run.
So the 66 looks like he's lost those front right tires. He's starting to drop back into the clutches of Charles Sumner. Charles Sumner is going to smoke by him as well. So all of these drivers are going to start to fan out a little bit more. And the 60 truck, look to the inside of Paul Williams. Is Paul Williams going to cover it up? Yes, he is. He puts that block down.
Yeah, at this point in the run, I think we're going to see a lot of the disparity between the savers and the users. Right now we have a battle shaping up for second. Daniel Knight and Ken Huber looking to get back up into the runner-up position.
Yeah, Ken Huber making his recovery drive. He's definitely going to look there on the bottom side, Chris.
Yeah, he's going to have the position as they head into turns 1 and 2. But Daniel Knight looks like he's going to get a bit of a run on the outside as they head down the back, I guess straightaway we can call it.
So Daniel Knight's tires have given up. He's now down from first place all the way back down to third right now. And Bradley Hawley up to the lead. But we're going to take a look at P6. This is the battle between Mike Eames and Richard Regan Jr. Richard Regan, after having hit that outside wall, still struggling to maintain positions.
Ooh, Regan, very, very close shave there as he headed down the track. Now moving to the inside on Eames.
Yeah, and it looks like he's just losing a little bit of straight line speed there, so that's going to be a little bit of a struggle for him, but he's down on the low side. But watch this, Mike Eames just pulls away on the straight, and I don't think that has to do with which line they're running. I think that truck is damaged.
A little distracted by the John Beer on his spoiler. I mean, I guess I've had a couple drinks when mowing the lawn before, but I don't know if I've ever immortalized it on the back of a racing machine.
So Richard Regan Jr. just trapped on that high side there above Rob Haynes. We're watching on screen now. These two guys really side by side there. It looks like we have a truck that got a little bit high up towards the wall and is a little bit slow. I believe that is Adam Zemke who had a little bit of trouble. So we're going to take a look at this here on the replay. Adam Zemke coming off of turn 4. Looks like he walked way up the track.
Yeah, looks like he got the wall pretty good. Unfortunately, you get those tires up out of the groove and, you know, the marbles and stuff will just put you on ice skates more or less.
So we are on lap 38 of 85. It has been green the whole way here at Chicagoland. In the lead is currently Bradley Hawley after hanging on to those tires long enough to make a difference. We're watching right now the battle for 5th place. This is Adam Zemke getting passed by Mike Eames after Adam Zemke got into that outside wall. So his tires and his truck seems to be quite a bit done. And look at this, Zemke into the pits.
Well, you had to think that was coming with the amount of damage that he took, but looks like some other people followed him down.
Yes, this is the Rescue Racing Patrol. This is the Rescue Racing team. Brendan Chatley's coming in, as well as as John LaBaff is in. Austin Hunter is in as well. Now, to report on how much speed these guys have lost, they going from the best lap to the last lap for our leader. Best lap is a 30.95, and the last lap was a 32.568. So they've lost a second and a half a lap. So if these guys pitting early can get an advantage, and there isn't a caution, this could play out in their favor.
Yeah, having that speed earlier than your competitors, especially if they're running a second and a half off of what they would normally be running, could be a huge advantage.
Richard Regan Jr. in as well. Daniel Knight with a great run, but had to abandon it because they were entering the corner. But look at how much aero push he has behind that truck there. Daniel Knight really struggling to try and get up there to the back of Ken Huber. As more people come in, that is Rob Haynes, Jared Mogart, Charles Sumner as well. Our highest runner of the pits was Richard Regan Jr. He's now back in the 29th position, but most of the field has yet to pit.
And even more drivers coming down pit lane. You see Rob Haynes there. Looked like Charles Sumner stopping in right behind him.
Kevin Santana also in the pits. It's Brett Adams, Nicholas Hunter, Stacy Hunter as well. So a lot of drivers starting to pit now. And we actually have a pass going on track for second place. Look at this. The race off the pit lane is good, and the race on track is good as well. Daniel Knight to the bottom side of Ken Huber. This is all before the pit stops. Let's see whether or not Daniel decides to duck into the pits here. Let's just put it on the challenge for Ken. Ken's actually going to back out of the battle a little bit, but look at this. There we go. Daniel Knight into the pits. Ken Huber looking to do the same thing.
Ooh, it's going to be a little dicey as they get onto pit road.
Bradley Hawley also into the pits from the lead. This gives up the lead to Jay Felton, Mike Eames, and Matt Sentel. Race on pit road. We're now going to see whether or not any of our drivers who were further back will have a significant advantage going in here. Bradley Hawley hits his box on time. Daniel Knight overshoots his, so he's going to have to back up a little bit, and Ken Huber hit his box well. So Daniel Knight with a little bit of a disadvantage.
I will say it looked like Knight caught his error pretty quick and was able to get backed up. I mean, he's still going to lose some time, but he did a pretty effective job of getting managed.
Fastest pitted driver is Adam Zemke. He is coming around 1 and 2 right now as Bradley Hawley exits the pit road exit, as Adam Zemke is going to see whether he can smoke by. Bradley Hawley just getting up to speed now. Adam Zemke is going to have to go around that high side in order to make this work. And now they've got the lead truck of Matt Sentel ahead of them that they are gaining quite quickly on. This is the battle for the lead. You are watching the provisional lead, rather, that you are watching on screen.
Look at that. They were 3 wide there for a second. Looks like the 42 of Zemke might have the advantage. It's going to be awfully close as they come off of 2, but Zemke's going to have the position for now.
So Adam Zemke takes over 4th position, provisional lead. Mike Richter has yet to pit. So has James O'Brien and Matt Sentel. Richter into the pits this time by, but Bradley Hawley, don't think for 1 second he's done yet.
Caution on the Speedway. That's going to play a huge role here.
So we're keeping our eyes out to see who it might be. So as we go back and take a look at who this was. Oh, it was Richard Regan Jr. Richard Regan Jr. got spun out of turn 4. So this was Rob Haynes and Richard Regan Jr. They were entering the corner 3 wide. Richard Regan Jr., here we go. As they go into the corner 3 wide, Rob Haynes comes up a little bit, and Richard Regan Jr. coming down, hugging that inside wall. Richard Regan, his bad luck continues with major damage there.
That's a tough break for Regan. It's the 2nd week in a row he's had a very fast truck, and things have just not worked out for him.
The 19 truck had a scary moment there. That was Matt Sentel. We're going to go on board with Matt Sentel. This is going to be a scary moment for him as he sees the spinning truck of Richard Regan up ahead of him. Taking a look, this is on board with Austin Hunter, who's behind the incident. You can see it up ahead of him as he tries to dodge this. Things settle out before he gets there, but those are scary moments when you're coming off of 3 and 4, especially with a pushing truck, Chris.
Yeah, you're going off the corner at full speed, and all of a sudden there's trucks parked on the track in front of you. That is a scary deal, to say the least.
So things are a little mixed up at the moment. We are currently having our leaders who are in the back of quite a long train of lapped cars that need to unlap themselves. Rob Haynes is counted currently as our leader because Matt Sentel and James O'Brien are in the pits after the incident. So Rob Haynes is going to pit again. This is one of those get out your scorebooks and try and track this down, Chris.
Yeah, where do I carry the 1?
Well, we know that we're not supposed to do math in the booth, but here comes our provisional leader, Rob Haynes, from what is counted as the 4th position into the pits. And he's going to get 4 tires and fuel, I believe. Let's see whether or not he goes with 4 or just sticks with 2 here. So 4-tire stop for him. He's pulling out of the pit lane now. So this definitely shook things up, Chris.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how everything's sitting once all the pit stops get sorted out.
All right, so after all of that, it appears, based upon what we can surmise, that Jared Mogard in the U truck is currently leading the race, with Bradley Hawley in 2nd place and Adam Zemke in 3rd, which is the opposite of what we saw when we came to the caution. Rob Haynes now listed in 4th position, with Brendan Chatley in 5th, James O'Brien 6th, Matt Sentel 7th, Ken Huber, Daniel Knight, and Jay Felton rounding out your top 10. Ken dropped quite a ways in that exchange, Chris.
Well, you got to be happy for the fact that we have computers that can handle this for us. In the way back days of racing, it was somebody with a pencil and a pad of paper trying to figure this all out. So, thank goodness for technology.
Yes, so quite a few drivers are stuck in the in-between positions here that are going to have to, a few lap drivers, so they're going to have to filter their way to the back of the pack or wherever iRacing has deemed to put them, as we are starting to line up. So the lap trucks finally making their way around the pace car, and we are starting to line up double file. So this is going to be a pretty chaotic restart. Look how small the field is coming to the green.
Yeah, this is going to be weird.
All right, so we have the top 6 only who are in line at the moment. We've just gathered up Matt Sentel, and now we have a bunch of lap trucks in behind them. They're all going to be single file down there. So this is Jared Mogard leading them. Oh, and they've actually called off the restart. This is probably for the best, Chris.
Yeah, that was definitely a good call by race control. You can see on the back of the screen there, things were just a little bit disjointed as they were getting ready to come to the green. So smart move by race control to extend the caution one more lap.
And usually the PRL does not intervene and throw cautions like this, but with all the chaos going on, our league admin Brendan Chadley has decided to throw the caution flag one more time, and we're going to go around a couple more times to make sure we sort this all out. So
yeah, I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see this kind of scenario happens in the digital world as much as it happens in the real world.
So it appears that the lights are off again, and we still have a long single-file train there for the lap trucks and those on the lead lap. So we only have the top 7, which is Jared Mogard, Bradley Hawley, Adam Zemke, Rob Haynes, Brendan Chatley, James O'Brien, and Matt Sentel, who are up ahead of the lap trucks. So this is going to be very interesting. These top 7 have the best shot at winning this race. Now granted, we have a long way to go, 35 laps when they come to the green, but as track position is everything, as the pace car pulls off, let's see who gets the advantage. Jared Mogard launches quite quickly and gets quite a gap over Bradley Hawley, who drops down ahead of Adam Zemke. Then we have Rob Haynes on the outside and James O'Brien, followed by Brendan Chatley and Matt Sentel.
Yeah, Jared Mogard is pretty good at these restarts, and he showed it today as he jumps out to the lead. The field's starting to get sorted out behind him a little bit, I think.
Well, one thing not being sorted out is Rob Haynes trying to battle with Adam Zemke for that third position. Rob to the bottom side, Adam Zemke to the top side, and behind them, James O'Brien and Brendan Challey got quite close coming into 3 and 4. But look at this side-by-side battle as they go across the line for third.
Yeah, Zemke and Haynes, I think, have traded that position 5 times in the last lap and a half.
The battle for the lead looks like it's heating up as well. Bradley Hawley looking to the low side of Jared Bogart as they exit 1 and 2, unable to do anything with it. We have so many battles on track, it's not even funny. There's even battles going on for those lap trucks in the background as well. Look at how close they're getting there for that lead. Bradley Hawley right on the back of Jared Bogart.
Yeah, Hawley close enough for the back of Mogard to smell what he had for lunch today.
Bradley Hawley looking to the high side this time. He's going to try and cross up Mogard here, going into 1 and 2, decides better of it and stays in line. Looks like Adam Zemke has prevailed over Rob Haynes for the time being, and James O'Brien over Brendan Chatler.
Yeah, looks like Hawley's going to stay on him.
Hawley staying right on his rear bumper, trying to follow him through. Behind all of this is some complete chaos for lap positions that I don't even think the drivers understand, and behind all of that is a battle for 7th place. Oh, we have a wreck on the front stretch. That is Kevin Santana and Mike Richter in the 31st position, and we are... Yes, Mike Richter in the 32nd position. They were battling up ahead of the 8th place truck of Ken Huber and Daniel Knight. So here we go. Look at this. Coming through the trioval just on the exit. Looks like Mike Richter and Kevin Santana just came together. Yeah, it looks like Kevin Santana down there on the white line, and Mike Richter just came down on him.
Richter must have been threatening him.
So as this gives us one more opportunity to try and sort everything out. All of this chaos that has been going on with these lap trucks and the lead trucks. This will give us one more shot. Looks like the poor yellow cone just being a little bit lonely right now, waiting for anyone to try and drop onto pit road.
I think that yellow cone is the only thing that makes sense in this race anymore.
Alright, so it looks like all of our leaders are going to drop into the pits. This is a good opportunity for them to get some fresh tires and fresh fuel. And we are going to take a break as well, get some fresh tires and fresh fuel for ourselves. And we will be back shortly with more Precision Racing League trucks. So it took us 3 cautions to sort it out, but it looks like we've gotten things figured out. We have 3 drivers who did not pit: Jay Felton, Mike Eames, and Adam Shane. And then our first pitter is Bradley Hawley, with Rob Haynes behind him, Adam Zemke in 6th, and Jared Bogard fell all the way back to 7th. Chris, you saw what happened on pit road?
Yeah, it looked like Mogard's pit crew had some struggles down there on pit road, and unfortunately has dropped him back quite a ways. He's going to restart from 7th. He was the leader going into that caution.
So as we get ready to start, Jay Felton will lead them to the line with Mike Eames on the high side and Adam Shane behind him. Bradley Hawley, second line on the top. The Mustang pace car pulls off and Jay Felton is waiting. Now he goes, and wow, they bottle up a little bit behind him, especially on that high side. Bradley Hawley quite close to the back of Mike Eames, and they're all spreading out, fanning out as they go down on Eames 1 and 2. Here we go, Bradley Hawley down low side underneath Mike Eames.
Hawley wasting no time. He's now making yet another move, trying to jump into the 2nd spot.
That's underneath Adam Shane. Adam Shane on that high side trying to make it work, but those old tires not working out for them at all. So look at this, Bradley Hawley flying into 2nd place, and now he's got his sights set on Jay Felton, about half a second ahead.
Yes, we just hit lap 60, so about 25 to go. And you got to think these guys that didn't take tires might be kicking themselves right now.
It is complete chaos. We're about 5th place on back. Those trucks so close together, each one of them swapping lanes as they try and get an advantage. Ken Huber almost gets turned in the corner. He's able to save it. James O'Brien goes by on the high side. That's going to spread things out a little bit ahead of them, but bundle things up more behind them.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the pay window's just about open. These guys are dropping the hammer, and things are getting very dicey out there.
Man, it's looking like they're trying to go 3 wide up there for that 6th position. Adam Shane up ahead, actually, of Mike Eames and Brendan Chadley, who are side by side for 7th, with James O'Brien looking on. He's actually going to almost make it 3 wide as they go across the start-finish line. These guys are definitely, it sure looks like the pay window's open, Chris.
I gotta say, for a second there, I really thought Chatley was gonna send it up the middle and make it 3 wide. I'm glad they thought better of it.
But we have more 3 wide down there on the bottom side. That is Telez down there trying to make it work, and they're just bottled up in behind all these guys. Mike Eames leading this train that is nose to tail.
Ooh, and Sumner swinging in there. Gosh, these guys are just absolutely on the edge right now.
Well, one of my friends calls begging for a wreck right now. Everyone just on the edge, trying to use up those tires as long as they have them. They're expecting this run to go to the green, all the way green flag again. And look at how tight these trucks are. Someone's got to give here, Chris.
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat right now, just watching these guys. Everyone all over the place. Everyone racing for every single inch on the track. And looks like Jose Telez is the man in the move.
Unfortunately, we have to pull away from that because Bradley Hawley has caught up to Jay Felton. Jay Felton on 20-lap old tires. Bradley Hawley has only had his for 7. He's now back up to the back of Jay Felton. And it looks like Jay is getting a little bit loose in that truck, which is not something I'm used to saying here around Chicagoland. And Bradley Hawley, look at that, just slips into line and looking to that outside. I think he's trying to trick Jay Felton to diving up there. No, he's actually going to stay in line again.
Bradley Hawley, one of the smartest drivers out there when it comes to saving his equipment. He has the newer tires. He knows he can make the move on Felton whenever he wants. So maybe he's just hanging back there for a little bit, biding his time and trying to make sure he's got his stuff underneath him for the end of the run.
A little fuel saving, push Jay Felton out to the lead a little bit. Nope, he decides now's the time to go. Jay's holding him up too much. He dives to the bottom side by side as they go across the stripe. Jay Felton led that lap of Bradley Hawley. He's going to try and carry that momentum into turn 1. Look at the new tires just rip as they go down there. Oh, they're so tight as they exit the corner. He pulls up right ahead of Jay Felton, who swaps over and is going to try and challenge him into 3 and 4.
It doesn't look like he's going to try. He is going to challenge him into turn 3. And I would be very nervous if I was Bradley Hawley with how tight these trucks have been. once they get a little bit into a tire run. It looks like everybody's going to play nice and keep everything underneath them. Holly did lead the lap that time by, but it was about a fraction of a second.
Oh, Jared.
And now...
Yeah, Jared Mogart just getting held up there, and he has to go to the outside. They're going to go 3 wide as they go down the backstretch with Rob Haynes on the low side. That is Jay Felton stuck in the middle. These guys are going to be 3 wide going into the corner. This is going to push Jared Mogart up to that high side. Can he hold on to the momentum? Yes, he can. Rob Haynes there on the bottom side. Jay Felton has to back out of it. This gives an opportunity to Adam Zemke, but Chris Bradley Holly is gone.
Yeah, everything that's happening in his mirror right now is playing exactly to the way Bradley Holly wanted it to. You had Jay Felton holding up your cars or other trucks that had pit, and then you have a lot of fast trucks racing each other very hard. So Bradley Holly can put it in cruise and drive out to the sunset if everything still plays this chaotic.
So as everything sorts up here, things are still tense in the mid-pack. You're watching. We're going to go on board with Daniel Knight as he tries to catch up to Brendan Chatley and Ken Huber. Look at him jostle and try and shake Brendan Chatley offline. These trucks getting very high. It's starting to lose grip on that high side. Daniel Knight trying to look on Brendan Chatley. Brendan Chatley doing a good job of just holding his line, just holding it down off the wall. That's going to be the big challenge, as most of these drivers back here have been using their stuff up quite a bit.
Yeah, these drivers really making the most of every inch of this track right now.
Daniel Knight looks like he's got a little bit more grip on that low side. He gives it back up to try and fall in line behind Brendan Chadley, but he might just be waiting around here. There's a big mess behind all of these trucks. Here we go. Look at this. This is James O'Brien, Charles Sumner, Mike Eames. They're all just nose to tail right now as they follow each other around the track.
Yeah, you see that graphic in the lower right-hand corner of your screen saying who's battling for 11th. I think at this point it'd be easier to say who's not battling for 11th. You have the meat of the field there all duking it out for that position.
Yeah, it looks like Mike Eames' tires have started to give up. He's been stuck on that high side for a couple of laps due to multiple trucks on his low side. Now happening to him again, so Mike Eames is unable to get to the bottom side of the track, and that's going to burn up more of his right front tire as he tries to carry more speed through there. He's going to try and squeeze right there Josue Tellez, who's trying to pull up ahead of him. But look at this, everyone getting bottled up behind him.
Yeah, Eames is doing everything he can to try to get off that high groove. Meanwhile, Jose Tellez is trying to get away from him. And there's a lot of different agendas being worked out right now.
Josue does clear him, but this puts Thomas Sink, who started from the rear of the field, remember. Thomas Sink currently up 19 positions to make that 20 as he passes Mike Eames from his starting position, so recovering well from that penalty.
Yeah, and that is not something easy to do here.
That was very close as Thomas Sink almost lost control going down the backstretch there and almost got into the right door of Mike Eames. Up ahead of them, James O'Brien and Charles Sumner also banging doors as they went through 3 and 4, so quite a bit of argy-bargy here late in the race. Side by side, the 38 just barely clears the 44. The 44 giving him a little bit of a bump there. That is Charles Sumner having pulled up ahead of James O'Brien. James O'Brien looking to the outside, and he's going to back it off a little bit going into the corner. This gives an opportunity for Josue Tellez, who's in that 24 truck, to try and close in and maybe get to the low side there of James O'Brien. He's going to do so as they go onto the front stretch.
And again, I think here in these last 10, 11 laps, you're going to see the different drivers that have saved their equipment versus the drivers that used it. They're really going to be meeting in the middle here towards the end of the race.
Nothing has changed up front. We're watching those intervals. Bradley Holly leads over Jared Mogart, over Rob Haynes. They're separated all by about half a second. These guys are not separated by anything at all as James O'Brien gets punted by Thomas Sink. Manages to save it, but that was very close as they went through 3 and 4. So James O'Brien now knocked out of the groove and with no momentum.
Yeah, there's just so much chaos going on there. Looked like the 44 truck on the outside was a near miss there for a second. We're going to hop up to the 5th position as Ken Huber has a bit of a gap over Jay Felton, but Felton is keeping his eyes on Huber. That's the battle for 5th right now you see on your screen.
Yeah, Huber had made it past Felton just recently. Felton, remember, he has older tires than the rest of the field, and he's starting to fall off pace. You're going to see Daniel Knight swoop down to the low side here through 3 and 4. And Felton just, nothing he can do. He just has to let it happen. Felton's laps are significantly slower than Daniel Knight's to the tune of, wow, about half a second.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant difference. You got to think Felton's just going to be hanging on there in his last 8 laps.
So Felton's strategy did not work out right now, but we're going to go back to our leader. Bradley Hawley has a 0.7-second gap over Jared Mogard. That has been pretty consistent, but the gap from Mogard to Rob Haynes has closed up a little bit over the last couple of laps. Rob Haynes has gained on Mogard, but if they start fighting, that'll only increase the gap to Bradley Hawley.
Yeah, best case scenario for Hawley would be for Mogard and Haynes to start fighting over second. But you got to believe Mogard's just giving it his all to try to get back up front.
Jared Mogard still not enough. He's lost another 10th that lap to both Hawley and Rob Haynes. So these drivers really struggling right now on these older tires.
Yeah, at this point, wouldn't be surprised to see the handling starting to drop away a little bit.
Quite a few of these drivers struggling on their handling. Jared Mogard, not the least of all, he's starting to drift high up off of the corners, using up a lot of that right rear tire now to try and get the car to turn, the truck rather, to turn off of the corner. Rob Haynes looks a lot more under control. Look at Jared Mogard walk up the track there, off the line by about half a truck length, and that's going to start to really wear the tires. Back in 12th position, we have Jose Velez battling with Dominic Machine. This is actually the result of the battle that Jose was having with Thomas Senk for the 10th position. Thomas actually got into the right front of Jose Velez while trying to make his pass, and this has pushed Velez back. Velez just recovering his momentum now and is being challenged by Dominic Machine around the outside.
And that's a tough break for Velez. He's had to march up from 26th. So losing that ground's got to sting quite a bit here in the closing stages of this race.
We haven't talked about Adam Young, and that's out of respect for him. He hasn't had the best luck when we've talked to him. Oh, contact a little bit between Velez and Machine, but we're riding on board with him as he's tucked down underneath Dominic Machine. He has to back out of it a little bit because he was starting to push up the corner. That's Mike Eames in behind him. Look at how close those trucks are up ahead. Dominic Machine and Jose Velez. No holds barred now.
Yeah, it is a pretty good run for Adam, not to put the jinx on him again. He started pretty deep in the field and made up, 15 spots to be running in 14th, and depending on how this battle in front of him shakes out, he could possibly gain a couple more here before the end.
Mike Eames dived down to the grass, and that actually gave an opportunity to Austin Hunter. He tried to take it around the outside. Austin.
So the battle is on for the second spot right now here with just a couple laps left. Jared Mogard with the advantage over Rob Haynes. But so far, Haynes not able to get close enough to do anything with it. We're going to head on board with Rob Haynes.
Bradley Hawley leading this whole thing by almost a second now. So he's pulled off into the distance. Rob Haynes has not been able to get closer than about a quarter of a second. But Bradley Hawley, after having his troubles starting off the race, getting caught out by an unfortunate pit strategy, he was able to make his way through the field, crosses for the white flag this time by. He just has one more lap to go at Chicagoland. Behind them, Mike Eames has actually spun. They've already taken the white, so this will still count, but this is going to be intense for them. Bradley Hawley still coming across, still coming through 3 and 4. He's been consistent all day. He's kept his nose out of trouble, and as he exits 4 for the final time, manages to keep it off the wall. Bradley Hawley, our first repeat winner in this season of PRL, takes the win at Chicagoland. Still some fantastic battles all the way throughout the field. Quite a few drivers getting involved in moments there throughout. Tristan Callahan crosses the line with a truck that's quite beat up, so we'll have all of those results and more as we step away for just a moment before we come back and bring you the unofficial results and a couple of interviews here at the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. Don't go away. Had a little bit of everything here at Chicagoland Speedway, but in the end, the one who took the victory overall was Bradley Hawley, taking it home with about a second over Jared Mogard, who came up from 20th to finish in second place today. Rob Haynes comes home in third, a good climb for him, with Ken Huber falling back just one position, down to the fourth position. Adam Zemke up to fifth position, with Daniel Knight in sixth and Brendan Chatley in seventh. Jay Felton, after taking a risk on the tire strategy, comes home in 8th position, with Thomas Sink recovering very well, almost up 30 positions into the 9th position, with Paul Williams following him home in 10th.
Just outside of the top 10, it was Jose Tellez with a march from 26th up to 11th. Charles Sumner in the Orange Juice truck manages 12th, with 13th place going to Dominic Beijing after an adventurous day. Adam Young moves from 30th up to 14th, with Austin Hunter in 15th. 16th is going to belong to Brandon Walter, with Colton Lane, James O'Brien, John Labath, and an unfortunate Richard Regan Jr. completing the top 20.
Matthew Aubrey's going to come home in 21st, with Nicholas Hunter in 22nd. Blaine Adams is going to come home in 23rd, with J.R. Brash in 24th position. Then Stacey Hunter in 25th, with Aaron Webb in 26th position. Matt Sentel, 27th, Kevin Santana, 28th, Mike Eames, 29th, and starting off our cars that are a lap down was Tristan Callahan. The rest of the results are going to roll by on your screen, but we have our winner, Bradley Hawley, to talk to. Bradley, it was looking to be a pretty dull race, but then we had that caution in the middle, and the whole field got jumbled up. What were you thinking when we were about to go back green there?
Thank God I passed the leader.
Absolutely. It was very tense racing out there with some pretty tight trucks. How tough was it out there with how hot it was?
Oh, it was extremely tough. I mean, it was just another one of those races where if you didn't take care of that right front, you were going to either be dump truck tight or hitting the wall.
Yeah, and you definitely put on a show, especially in that final restart. You were looking fairly aggressive. Did you realize that this was probably the last restart and you wanted to get out there and get as much track position as you could?
Oh yeah, I was definitely I was hopeful with, how the race had been going so far that, we weren't gonna have many more cautions after that. And with the 3 guys ahead of me on that last restart with 15 lap older tires, I felt like if I was just patient enough, let their tires get up to temperature with mine, I knew I was going to be just a tad bit quicker.
Well, Bradley, fantastic racing. Congratulations on being our first repeat winner this season, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Richmond.
Thank you very much.
That was Bradley Hawley, our winner today. And next up, we have Jared Mogard, who has come in and is going to be talking to Chris.
Well, Jared, congratulations on a good run today. Looked like you were doing pretty good up front, and then pit road kind of seemed to bite you there at the end.
Yeah, that last pit stop there kind of hurt us a little bit. Went from first to fourth, but ended up seventh there because a couple guys did off. But yeah, kind of hurt us a little bit there. But all in all, it was a good race coming from 20.
Now, second place, definitely not too bad. But did you think if you had gotten to Bradley, you would have had something for him?
I don't know. We were pretty even. We needed a long run there. That first half of the race, we were really coming. I wish we could have made it the whole way because we were a lot better there toward the end during the rear flight stop. So I don't know. The setup was very good. It was pretty wide open and took forever for the tires to fall out. So we were pretty even. He was pulling me a little bit there toward the end, but then started getting them back last couple laps. So I don't know. I needed a lot longer run than what we got.
Well, thanks for stopping in and talking to us, Jared. Hopefully we'll be talking to you 1 week from today. And with that, I believe Adam's catching up with our third place runner, Rob Haynes.
Yeah, Rob, you were on a charge there right at the end, but it looked like you just kind of run out of tires. Was there anything you could have done to catch up to Jared at the end there?
No, I made one attempt on him. Adam, I got to his bumper, and that was about it. As soon as I got behind him, the truck just wanted to push up the track. So no, I couldn't. After that, I just fell back a couple of truck links and just kind of held on. Yeah, the tires gave out pretty drastically there.
Yeah, definitely. We saw you about 1.5 seconds. You guys losing time there. And so next week we head to Richmond, which is quite a different feel of a track. Is that one of the tracks that you feel comfortable with, or is it one that you tend to struggle on?
No, I like Richmond. Short track racing should be good. It races like a speedway, so I enjoy that place. I expect I'll do good there. I'm hopeful anyways. A lot of good drivers in here, and congrats out to Brad tonight.
Well, Rob, thanks for talking to us. Fantastic finish coming home third today, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Hey guys, can I thank a couple of people?
Absolutely.
Obviously, you guys, GSRC for the fantastic broadcast, PRL for putting all this together, ETC, Roman Delight, Inline 309, American Breadcrumb Company, CRB Construction, and everybody who's friends and teammates of Rescue Racing. We're always raising money for 2 animal shelters, Philly Paws and Camo Animal Rescue. Always looking for sponsors and donations at our website, rescue-racing.com. And thanks again, guys. It's a good run for the 29 here.
Thank you, Rob, and we look forward to seeing you next week. All right, folks, that is going to wrap up our show today. Thank you, a big thank you to the Precision Racing League for bringing us on for another season, and a big thank you to this season's sponsors, Diecast Kings and the ButtKicker. Fantastic products, and we hope that you would go check them out. And also thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts that are listed here on your screen. As always, many thanks to June Milan, who provides our bump and music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to today's crew, Sean, Chris, and Dougie. If you want to find out more about GSRC, including our upcoming races, you can see them scrolling by right now, or you can find us at the Global SimRacing Channel.com. Also, check out our social media on Twitter at GSRC Channel, on GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you want to see more racing action, hit that big red subscribe button down there as well so you don't miss a moment of the action here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. As I mentioned, next week's race is at Richmond. Same time, same place. We're looking forward to that one. It's going to be very intense. And we also have upcoming races for other series that are listed here on your screen, so check those out and mark them down in your calendar. We hope you've enjoyed joining us tonight as much as we've enjoyed bringing this race to you, and we hope to see you back here on our channel soon. But until next time, race clean, race hard,